Well, welcome to another Acoustic Alternatives. This one's a little different. We had a recording that didn't go quite the way we had planned back a few weeks back. This particular session brought to you by David Palmer, the associate broker realtor serving clients in the city of Detroit and throughout the region, is being kind of redone because the portion of the interview that I was doing wasn't actually being sent through the mixer. So my good friends in the Accidentals were kind enough to join me again. And they're currently, as we're recording, in Boston, right?
Yeah, yes. In Cambridge, technically. But yeah, we're at an Airbnb and we're taking a couple days off here.
Yeah, we're halfway through the tour.
Well, I'm sure it's going well. I've seen some Facebook posts about it, and I'm happy to see that you've got some great nights with Sawyer Fredericks happening out there. And I hope the album is selling. I hope that people are actually stopping by the merch table and remembering that that's one of the ways you guys are making a living, is selling merchandise.
Yeah, we've actually sold a lot of our vinyl, which just came in thanks to Archer Records in Detroit. So now we have like limited edition orange vinyl, and we're really, really excited about it. It sounds great.
We sold like 15 Michigan and again mugs in
Wow.
Pawling, New York the other day.
What?
But we had to beg. That's how that happened. We were like, please take these mugs. We keep breaking them on the road. Please buy all of them. And so a bunch of Pawling, New York people have Michigan and again mugs now.
Well, darn it, I should have grabbed one when I saw you a month ago or so.
I think we have one more. We were gonna break it with a baseball bat, but I think we'll save it for you. So
no, you do what you got to do. If it's a stress relief for you, do what you got to do.
Find other ways to cope.
Well, we'll get into the interview in a minute, but I do want people to hear the performances that took place in the studios at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, in the larger room down the hall. You'll get to see what it looks like in different parts of the Grove Studios instead of the usual podcast studio. So you think you started with Vessel? Is that what we remembered?
What did we start with?
Vessel? Is that what we thought?
We started with The Line, actually.
All right. Well, then here's the Accidentals doing The Line on Acoustic Alternatives.
All right, this song is called The Line, and this is also off of our Vessel record. And thanks for being here at the album release show. This is so exciting. Appreciate y'all.
When I sing these words into an empty room, I'm not sure if they will even make a sound. If I burn my paper courage, if I sow it in the ground, will the ashes yield a seed to work around? There's a hollow that once held the sense of youth, a little patch of light I learned to cut into, to cash it in for something wiser. I just want a little truth from every fire and flood that feeds a deeper wound. It used to be like a creek flowing from a summit I can never see. Now it's frozen dry, carving lines around my eyes, tracing knots along my spine. It's so hard to find the time to let it breathe, to find the line between the truth and the belief. War is young in terms of time, but it's got teeth, tearing families and futures at the seams. Be it oil or gold or water, we have always treasured greed. We won't bite the dying hand of history. To my friends who think you'll save yourself some time, because your confidence is withered up and died. You are more than what you carry, you are more than what you hide. You will never know how much you leave behind. It used to be like a creek flowing from a summit I can never see. Now it's frozen dry, carving lines around my eyes, tracing knots along my spine. It's so hard to find the time to let it breathe, find the line between the truth
This week's Acoustic Alternatives, I'm joined by the Accidentals, who are supporting a brand new album called Vessel. You can't see me moving because I'm having a little trouble with my Zoom camera, but they are currently with me in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we're going to repeat what we did. So I'm sorry for the repeat questions. It's going to be the same interview in its own little way. And I did spend some time speaking to each and every one of you in person. And what we're also going to miss is the fact that I changed t-shirts in the middle of the interview. Nobody was going to get to see that either. You were nice enough to give me a new t-shirt, but
well, we don't need the audio for that.
Yeah.
We just play the video.
Yeah, I guess so. It was a funny moment that no one's ever going to see. You guys didn't even notice. It didn't matter. It was only funny to me, but
I find it funny in retrospect. That's always jokes age like wine.
yeah,
Yes.
it was pretty funny today. So Sav Beist, we're going to start with you as we did in the interview in the original. Nashville now is currently your home, right? You're returning to your roots because you were born there. Is that
I
right?
was, yeah. My parents met there both playing music. My mom was an R&B singer, and my dad is a multi-instrumentalist. So they met playing gigs in Nashville, and then relocated to Michigan and said, no, thank you, music industry. And then I said, I want to play music. So now I'm back in Nashville.
Oh, well, multi-instrumentalist also describes you: violin, guitar, bass, mandolin, banjo. You're also a singer-songwriter and an audio engineer. That's what you're trained in, correct?
Yeah, I went to Northwestern Michigan College for audio tech, and yeah, that was a great program. They had one of the first Raven consoles, which is like a big touch screen console. So it was a good time. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from recording our album too, which we recorded 90% of our new album Vessel up in my attic, which we turned into a studio.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of learning, a lot of college applied knowledge there.
So of the instruments that you play, which one was your first and which one is your favorite?
Violin was my first. I started that in grade school because we have a really great music program up in northern Michigan, and they introduce you to instruments at an early age. And I also really like upright bass. I love playing upright bass. It's basically like an upside down violin, so I have a lot of fun playing around with that.
Very cool. What drives you to play and write at this point in your life? I mean, playing probably as a kid was just one of those things you almost had to do with your musical background family there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think music is sort of a form of free therapy for a lot of people. You know, a lot of the time I was writing songs for myself to help process my thoughts and say things that I couldn't really say aloud because I'm an introvert. So it was a good way to kind of put those feelings and thoughts into fruition. But you know, now I'm realizing that it also is a great way to make you less alone. Like, you know, a lot of the times music connects with other people too, and they're always looking for something they can latch onto and feel without having to put it into words all the time. So that's kind of what drives me at this point, is creating little communities and, you know, making sure that everybody has something they can latch onto.
I can't tell you how many times I've connected with another songwriter's words and meant, oh my gosh, you wrote what I was thinking. How did you do that? I'm sure you've had people come up to you at shows and say something similar to that.
Yeah, it's been really sweet. You know, a lot of the songs are about mental health, and you know, a lot of the songs on the Vessel album are kind of about grief as well and loss. And so it's been really amazing talking to other people who have experienced similar trials in life, and you know, in a way, you can kind of heal more because of the conversations that you start with these people. So,
Well, what comes first for you when you're writing, the message of the song or the melody?
I think for me, it changes every time. You know, a lot of songs I'll start by having a couple of sticky notes in my phone with some lines that I feel like might be cool to use later, and then I'll sit down with my guitar and sort of do it all at the same time. It's like throwing every ingredient into the recipe, which I'm sure doesn't always yield a great dish, but every once in a while you get it right.
Right. And so you and Katie Larson, who we're going to speak to next, started the band when you guys were in high school?
Yeah, we were 15 and 16 in our orchestra program. You want to talk more about that?
Yeah, we were kind of like two really nerdy students who lived next to each other, like growing up, and still never talked to each other because we were too shy. And then we kind of crossed paths a little bit in like our wedding quartet that we played in after school, but we still didn't really know each other. And then finally, it was like a homework assignment for the alternative styles group where we would, you know, jam on Led Zeppelin and Coldplay after school, where Sav and I were the only two people in the entire class who volunteered. And that's how we really got to know each other and really bonded quickly over just different music. Like Sav introduced me to a lot of folk music, and we started listening to the White Stripes, and we both loved Andrew Bird and Sufjan Stevens, and just all sorts of kind of indie folk crossover.
And Traverse City was home for you until recently as well, right? Until the end of the tour, technically.
Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah, Traverse City, you know, is definitely where we grew up. I was born in Wisconsin technically, but only lived there for like 3 years. And it'll be really interesting getting off this tour. We end on November 3rd in Nashville, and I'm going to be moving into a house that my boyfriend's at that I've never seen before.
What?
Well, I'll unpack my bags, and then I'll be in a new home.
Wow.
So, but you know, we usually say that, but we kind of still split our time between Michigan and Nashville, and that was the goal ever since the beginning of 2020. But of course, we ended up spending a lot of quarantine up in Michigan with our families, where we did all of the recording.
Mm-hmm. You're in Interlochen grad. You're a guitar player, cello, vibraphone, ukulele. And did I miss anything there?
Oh, accordion.
vibraphone?
She played vibraphone on Vessel and accordion.
Yeah, I guess I could. I mean, you could say I play vibraphone, but really, I just donked on like a triad here or there for Vessel.
Vessel.
On Vessel?
It's
Yeah.
I have to listen to
reversed.
that.
So it's actually reversed and played with, but yeah, it's on there.
It's because we were referencing Sarah Jaffe, who's like a really great songwriter from Texas, who we like covered her song Clementine for our live album. And when we were working with John Congleton to start the album, like we said, we love Sarah, we love what you did with her work, and he's like, okay, well, let me pull out the vibraphone then, and we can replicate some of that. So that's how it ended up on Vessel.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was peeking around on all the albums to see what everybody played. So I noticed as well, 5 of the songs on Vessel are yours. When did you first start writing songs?
I started writing songs probably when I was around the age of like 11 or 12, and it definitely started music first. I got a guitar for like as a Christmas present when I was a kid, and I picked it up and like tried to play, and my fingers just hurt so bad. And I'm such a perfectionist, I couldn't hold the chords down, so I said, I'm giving up, like enough of this. But then, you know, my dad is a composer, so he showed me how to use some computer programs like Finale, and I really got to explore like all these different instruments and like come up with cool like harp parts and hear them in playback on the computer. And yeah, it was just very freeing to do that. And I ended up like making up a lot of random songs, and just the satisfaction of like hearing them on a computer and then like exporting and like putting them on my iPod and seeing my name under it. I was like, this is like such a satisfying feeling. Like I
Release the EP.
yeah, we really like weird MIDI experimental stuff. But I actually started writing song lyrics when I picked up guitar again in middle school. So I was probably writing like when I was about 13 years old.
So before you met Sav, you were writing songs. Nice.
She's who inspired me to start writing songs.
I was writing really angsty, like weird punk and folk songs alone in my room that I never intended to play for anyone until I met Sav, and Sav was like, "Hey, we should play some music together." And then I slowly got over my stage fright, having someone to sing with.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I'm thinking of Billy Bragg, because Billy Bragg is sort of the folk singer inspired by Woody Guthrie and the Clash. So if you don't know his stuff, you should go back and listen to some of it. It's more politically charged than you guys are, but just kind of fits in that same mold of, not really true folk. Definitely less so today. So your musical soulmate was born so far away from you. How do you guys find each other? I guess it's just kind of random, I guess. What are the similarities in your personalities that brought you together at that time? Do you remember?
I'm just laughing because we're very similar but also very different people at the same time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think like a lot of people maybe try to start bands in high school or whatnot, but I think for Sav and I, it was more like the differences that really brought us together, but also just the fact that we are like extreme overachievers. And I think in school, I mean, we were very like focused on academics and thought we would go down a very different path, but we were like, whatever we did, we like gave it our all, like all the time. And I think we applied that to music once we started gigging. We like we wanted everything to be as good as we could make it and to try whatever we could.
Well, and we were acquaintances when we first started the band. Like, she just came over to rehearse for the Alternative Styles for Strings Club, and then next thing you know, we're playing the White Stripes together. Like, the song "We're Gonna Be Friends," and it just kicked off like, oh, we should like maybe play music together. So we hardly knew each other all that well, and we've really just become tight over time. And I think also part of it is that neither of us really are demanding for a front role or trying to outpace each other. I think it's always been very collaborative and just a partnership and a team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We always take care of each other, so helps a lot. And we've expanded that circle, obviously.
I was going to say 2.5 years into your celebrating 10 years today, or this month, I guess, or recently anyway.
Yeah.
Michael Dowsey is the newest. So I don't know. I'm not sure if he's the newest member because you have a bass player we haven't spoken to yet. Is she technically a member? We're going to find out. So Michael, you're living in Grand Rapids these days. I know you're from Northville originally because I remember the first time that I met you. For some reason, you were excited to meet me, but that you had been listening to the radio station that I was at the time. You're like, oh my God, you're John Bommarito. Like, yeah, and you're Michael from the Accidentals. So what brings you to Grand Rapids these days?
I was just, ready to make a move. I think a lot of the musicians that we collaborate with as well are sort of out of the west side of the state, and then it was kind of centrally located. 2 hours to Traverse City, 2 hours to home, and I thought it just kind of seemed like a good natural move, and I've been loving it. It's nice to be close to the lake and to be around a lot of really interesting people. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the move over there.
And when did you find yourself as part of this band? Was it just like I sat in once and then suddenly I was in the band? Is that how it turned out?
Well, so I met Sav and Katie at a music festival back in 2013, and then I was like a huge fan. They had just put out their Bittersweet record, and there were some tunes on that record that I just absolutely loved, and we just ended up talking for the next year and started to become friends. And by the summer of 2014, they were like, hey, we're looking for a drummer for some shows for about a month. Do you want to come up and play? And I knew like all of their songs already. So I was like, yeah, of course. Like,
that's convenient.
When do I start? So I came up and I played for that month, and then at the end of that month, they were like, well, we think we're going to do this, for a while, so do you want to drop out of school and, come on the road? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. At the time, I was going to Belmont University in Nashville, and I was, trying to be a professional musician, so I was like, well, maybe this is a chance to see what that's like, and so I took the opportunity, and it's been it'll be 8 years, I think, next summer. So it's about 7.5 years that I've been with the band.
You're not wearing it today, but you have a lot of shirts that say Tuesday. Why do you have a lot of shirts that say Tuesday?
I do.
It's funny because we were talking about not being politically charged, but here we go.
Well, and I don't even know if it's super political.
Not
it's
really.
just kind of doing civic duties. But there was a point where my thing was that I would wear a shirt with whatever day of the week it was on it to shows, because I just thought that was kind of fun, and then I didn't also have to think about what I was going to wear that day.
It's like writing it in your underwear, right?
Yeah,
These are my Tuesday underwear. There you go.
But then as things started to heat up around election times and around midterms and things like that, we kind of repurposed the Tuesday shirts to be, go out and vote, register to vote on Tuesday, because we all know that this first Tuesday in November is usually the voting day. So
correct.
It just kind of worked for that. So yeah, I think I own like 8 shirts that say Tuesday now, just because we were doing a lot of stuff behind that, and so yes, I have quite a few Tuesday shirts.
And it's not the band, Tuesday.
No, well, and there's
Not the band Thursday either.
Yeah, there's a band Thursday too, which is like I think they're like a post-hardcore band or something. And sometimes when I would wear the Thursday shirt, people would be like, "Oh yes," and I'm like,
I just like the day of the week.
Yeah, I just think the day is cool.
So what drew you to drums at an early age?
I honestly don't really have a good clue. I was kind of playing drums before I knew how to like speak. I think I used to like pull all of the pots and pans out of the cupboards in the kitchen and just like go ham on them with some like wooden spoons and things. And I think my parents got tired of having to like clean all of the pots and pans after I would throw them all over the floor.
Yeah.
So when I was like 4 years old, my parents and my grandpa, who was a jazz musician in like the 50s and 60s, they got together and got me my first drum set when I was 4 years old for Christmas. So I've been playing ever since.
Hopefully they don't regret this now that you're on the road all the time.
Oh no, not at all.
You're not
They're
just a
very
drum.
supportive.
Oh, sorry. You're not just a drummer though. You're also guitar, bass, piano, which you played all those things on The Sound of Self-Destruction, your 2016 release.
Yeah, I've got a few solo projects that I work on as well when we're not on the road and touring, and I've been working on being more and more of an audio engineer as well. And so I feel like my solo projects are more of me just tinkering with recording and sound engineering in general. So
Put on a couple of things in 2020 and 2021. too.
yeah, I put out a solo record under the name Tree Skin in February of 2020, and then this summer, my friend Ben Travers and I released an album of sea shanties that we had been
Oh,
working
wow.
on
I
for a
didn't know
couple of
that.
years. So yeah, I'm just kind of all over the place. I just like to try a bunch of different kind of musical ideas. It's super fun to just kind of hop around.
Very nice. And so one other member is in the room. Is she a member of the band? Tell me. Where? Where?
Hi, I'm Patty.
Hi, Patty.
So I'm around for this tour for Vessel.
And anytime you want.
whenever they put the patch signal up.
Yeah. You were kind enough to share your album with me when I was in the studio with me. It's a really good rock record.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very loud, and normally I'm in front, and doing the whole like yelling at people from every brewery in Michigan thing.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of taking a step back a little bit and like exploring electric guitar, which is not something that I don't usually play lead very often. I'm like, bass is my home.
Mhm.
But then they were like, "Oh, you want to play guitar?" And I said, "Sure." And then Katie had to teach me a bunch of stuff. But it's feeling more natural every day. So
Also learned octave mandolin and 25 songs while fronting your own project and putting out a record. So it's a lot.
How did Patty get to be part of the circle, and will she stay for future tours?
Should I ask her? Yeah. I mean, pretty much.
I don't know how I got here. I'm just glad to be here.
We found out. So we did know about Patty Pershaila thanks to local spins. John Sink has been doing a lot of write-ups on the local Michigan music scene.
He's great.
And so, we saw your name in an article and we were like, wow, who is this amazing person who can play multiple instruments? We're looking for somebody who can fill out some of the parts on Vessel, because once we got done with the record, it was like, oh, I'm playing bass, mandolin, and violin on this song, and I have to choose one. And Kate's playing electric guitar and cello on this song, and she has to choose one. We're out of hands. So Patty came in and just really, we called and asked if you'd be interested. We did a Zoom call. We talked about D&D for like 25 minutes, and then we knew it was going to be a good fit. So
Cool.
Patty came up for like 6 rehearsals while we were all still doing shows. We would like go to South Carolina, come home, and play, rehearse again. And so it was just a crazy time, but the shows were about like 13 shows in on this run, and it's so tight. It's so good and so fun.
Well, welcome to the fold, Patty. It's good to have you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
We should go to another song now. What was the next song you did? Was it
So we did Vessel next.
Vessel? All right. The Accidentals have joined me today on Acoustic Alternatives.
We're in the middle, it stretches on empty spaces all day long. A shred of silence when we're done. 'Cause I'm your vessel and you're my soul. I've been breathing so deeply, letting life come naturally, but it's a struggle, see clearly. With every fiber, I build a bridge to where I wanna be. It's like parking past a moving car. You lose all sense of your perspective. Am I falling back or standing still? I guess it's all subjective. Tell me something, is this wrong? Every care we thought was there is gone. It's not a race, but it won't be outward. 'Cause I'm your vessel, you're my soul. Get to where we wanna be. 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 Get to where we wanna be.
The Accidentals on Acoustic Alternatives. So glad to have them rejoining me as we redid this interview after the interview portion that was recorded didn't quite work out. And I do want to thank my sponsor, David Palmer, the associate broker realtor who serves the clients of City, Detroit, and the region. He specializes in helping first-time home buyers and those selling a home who are still recovering from their experience with a past agent. If you had a bad experience, David can help you out with that. You can read testimonials about David's work at dcpalmer.com. He's also quite adept at estate sales and downsizing. If you're near my age, I'm in my mid-50s almost, you may already have had to struggle with the passing of a loved one and being left to decide what to do with a lifetime of stuff belonging to your parents. Many of us have been thinking about when the inevitable happens, what am I going to do? Well, David Palmer can help. He's your solution. He'll walk you through the steps and with your permission, help you manage the third parties whose services you will need. I've known him for years. He's a really great human being. I'm really, really grateful for his support. He's a music fan, which is why he's supporting me. He likes what I do. And I encourage you strongly to check out dcpalmer.com to see how he can help you or someone you know buy or sell a home. David Palmer is associated with Realty Experts LLC, 1420 Washington, number 301, Detroit, Michigan, 48226 313 759 9558. Thanks for letting me squeeze that in there, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, happy 10 years again. More of a rock band than when you started out. If I played Clearly Confused from your early record next to Count the Rings or anything really from Vessel, they sound like different bands. Is this a natural evolution for you guys?
Yeah, I think we've always been, experimenting with different genres and styles. You can always hear our roots in that we play violin and cello on almost every single song we've ever written and recorded. The only difference, I think, is that you can't, on some of the songs on Vessel, you can't hear an acoustic guitar anywhere. So that's, that's sort of the natural progression for us. We're always wanting to try new things.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways this is this is the album we've been wanting to make for a very, very long time. I think even very early on, we were experimenting with all these different instruments like electric guitars and everything. But now that we finally have the right team, we have Michael, we have all this knowledge that we've picked up from these fantastic producers we've had the chance to work with, and the audio technology under these guys' belt, and also just the gear from our sponsors. So all that together, I think, and 10 years of playing music like this, I think has finally got us to the point we have the resources and we had the time to make exactly what we wanted it to sound like.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic, by the way. Did I mention that? No, I haven't mentioned that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll put that on our website.
It's fantastic, quote. While you're playing your live sets anymore, do songs from the older catalog like Miso Soup ever make it into the live set? Does that ever happen?
We just did that song for a VIP meet and greet. We've been doing these pre-show hangs with people, and we play some of the songs from the old catalog, but we also have some songs from Bittersweet in our live show. Ghost of a Lie we haven't played for years, and now that we have somebody holding it down on bass while Kate can solo on her lead electric, it's just been really fun to bring that stuff back and, give it the love it deserves. So yeah, every once in a while you'll hear stuff. You just have to go to enough shows.
Yeah, follow you around. Be an accidental head, like a dead head.
For
Is
sure.
that a thing?
Yeah, why not?
Well, Traverse City is a lovely place, and I find it hard to. I understand, but why are you going to Nashville? Is it for the obvious reasons because that's the hub of a lot of music?
Billy Strings and Lindsay Lou have been representing Michigan down in Nashville for quite some time now, and it's kind of like we're trying to build representation for the state in various places.
The
homes
Warren
away from
Treaty
home.
down there too now.
Yep.
Warren Treaty are down there as well.
Rachel
and-
Davis.
Yeah, well, plus, May Earlywine has been doing some co-writes with some Nashville artists, Sweetwater Warblers, a bunch of them are down there, so,
Yep.
It makes sense to, follow the community where it takes you, and a lot of these people took us under their wing when we were really young and first learning how to play music, so it makes sense to hang with the people who raised you in some ways. But, again, I think representing Michigan is something that we're definitely trying to do, and we're down there to do session work and to do co-writing and have a little space to build those relationships further. We started doing co-writes with Kim Ritchie and Tom Paxton and Mary Gaucher, Jamie Harris, Maya Sharp. There's more with Gretchen Peters and Beth Nielsen Chapman that are going to make it on the EP session too. So, there's a lot of relationships that we're starting to build down there, and it feels like a natural progression, but we'll always come home, especially in the summertime. How can you resist summertime in Michigan?
No.
So.
Well, Michelle, hopefully you won't leave us behind and forget that we're your home. Like you're going to say you're from
part-time.
Michigan. Yeah, we
No,
live.
we're only part-time in Nashville anyway.
Okay.
My parents still live in Michigan, so I'm going to have to come home eventually.
Well, tell me what part of your story that Moxie Strings figures into. Moxie Strings, I know, are an important part of what you guys ended up doing later.
Yeah, the Moxie Strings, Diana and Allie came to do a workshop. So they are amazing musicians and performers, entertainers, and also teachers. So they came to our public high school orchestra program, I think 2011.
2011.
Yeah, and taught a workshop for our class. And at the time, I was really uncomfortable with improvisation. I could barely, I could only read what was on the page in front of me. And one of their missions was to teach students to be more fearless when it came to improv and taking on different styles. So Allie plays electric cello, and Diana can rip up a fiddle solo. And once we watched them perform, that was a huge inspiration for us, deciding, hey, why not? Why not be a band? We can literally watch two strong women doing it. Why not us try? So I think, afterwards, Sav and I started gigging and really tried to also carry on what they do with workshops, because it was so impactful to us. So now when we go on tour, we stop in, anywhere from elementary schools to colleges and talk about strings or songwriting or improvisation or music business, and just try to, share some of the behind the scenes from the music industry.
Yeah.
If people are interested in booking you for that, can they do that?
Yeah, you can check out more information at our website, theaxnellsmusic.com.
Very cool. Now, we were talking about the co-writes just a bit ago, all the people you worked with and have worked with and plan to work with. Do you guys set those up? Does your management set that up? Is there a booking agent that's saying, I think you should do this? I mean, how is that happening? It's just kind of a...
Yeah, we have a whole team that we've kind of spent the last 10 years building, and, it's definitely changed a lot in that time. But we have a booking agent, and we work with Fleming Artists out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we also work with, a whole business team of people. And so, yeah, definitely just go through our website. We all look at the same email address every day. We're all logged into it, so we all are in the loop. And, to touch on that a little bit, Kate and I have been DIYing it, for a very long time. We're independent artists again. So, we're very involved with how, our career is going and the directions we're moving in. So, we're here, we're present. It's not just a void. You don't have to shout into a void. We're here.
So your previous to Vessel was the EP. We just mentioned Timeout Session 2. You're talking about some of the things that are going to be co-writes on there. Timeout Session 1 featured your co-write with Kim Ritchie. That also made it to Vessel. Now, how did you decide to make one of the songs part of Vessel?
Well, I mean, I think we really wanted to include it in Vessel, but the problem was when we first wrote Wildfire, it just was so timely. We really poured everything that we were feeling into that song, and Kim Ritchie really just cracked us open because we were unable to write at that time. Probably the summer of 2020, we were just live streaming every day and starting to record Vessel, and Kim really took this beginning of a song that Sav had, and it just turned into this beautiful reflection on the isolation that was going on. And so we recorded it and really tweaked the production quite a bit.
Well, I think it made it onto Vessel too because the whole point of Vessel for us is about perspective. That's the message of the album, is looking at things both in hindsight and in the present. And our perspective has changed a lot since when we started working on it in 2018 with John Congleton and Tucker Martine. It was in 2018, we hadn't even had the trailer stolen. There hadn't been a van accident that took us to driving around my car, and there hadn't been a global pandemic. So now the album has a lot of significance in regards to perspective and hindsight, and we really felt like that song belonged on it too. On Timeout, it represents grief and the stages of it. On Vessel, it represents hindsight. So we kept it on as a result.
I'm glad it's there. It's an excellent song. It's time for another song, and I think what you did next was Go Getter, right?
We did do Go Getter next, yeah.
Love this tune. Accidentals are featured today on Acoustic Alternatives.
This one's called Go Getter.
Grief's a sheet of tinfoil that I crush inside of me. A story to be told in every fold, in every crease. I'm smoothing out the edges I couldn't see the signs. You had spent your whole life driving all those thoughts out of your mind. With your foot pressed to the pedal, you decided it was time. What did you leave behind? Try to give it time. Life will teach you how to live. You just have to live it for a while. Pull it together. Shake out the pressure. Sometimes you gotta burn it down to build it better. Never to hate it, it's now or never. You gotta be a go-getter. And if I leave it all to hindsight, is there anyone to blame? And if I tell you that I'm sorry, can I leave behind the shame? You should've pushed the line. You should've given me time. Who am I to preach when I can't even say goodbye? Put it together. Shake out the pressure. Sometimes you gotta burn it down to build it better. Never to hate it, it's now or never. You gotta be a go-getter. Put it together. Shake out the pressure. Sometimes you gotta burn it down to build it better. Never to hate it, it's now or never. You gotta be a go-getter.
Go Getter from the Accidentals on Acoustic Alternatives, a very less than acoustic setting this time around in the Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. We decided to utilize the large studio down the hall from the podcast studio because, well, 4 people weren't going to fit in the podcast studio for one thing.
Yeah,
mean,
you were like 4 songs, and we walked in with like 13 instruments. So
Yeah. I mean, I was grateful because I was not able to go see the show at the Arc the night that you came to visit me. And it was kind of like my little mini personal concert. So thank you for that, by the way. I really enjoyed getting a chance to see it. And Go Getter is probably my favorite song on that record. Who wrote the opening line in that one? Because that's a favorite line of mine. Grief's a sheet of tinfoil that I crush inside of me. Reality, the rest. I'm sorry, really the rest of the song is very deep and insightful beyond your years. But I want to know that opening line, where'd that come from?
Yeah, so I mean, this is sad, but a friend of mine, my childhood friend, actually passed away from suicide in October of 2019, and so that was very hard to process. For a really long time, I just stopped writing and being creative, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't put anything down, and I realized that I was not talking about how I was feeling. I was trying so hard to write about anything else that I literally was dodging the problem. It's like trying to fix a clogged faucet by just trying to blast more water at it, and you know the reality is you just kind of have to poke holes in it until everything comes flooding out. And so that line really helped start the whole song and really helped me process, closure where I wasn't gonna get it the way that I wanted it. So yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's not like pretty beautiful, but lyrically beautiful. Like it reached me. So thank you for that. Thanks for letting it out.
Thanks.
Tell me about Count the Rings.
It's another one. So that song almost didn't make the record. I remember being really late in the process, and Michael was like, "Do you have any other original songs that we can record instead?" And I was like, "No, this is it." But yeah, I think what it really took was, we had a week left to finish the record, and we ended up just rewriting that entire song from scratch, except for the chorus. We took all the lyrics and we just destroyed them and started over. And as a result, it turned out to be a lot more honest. I don't think it's lyrically like as deep as some of the other stuff on the record, but it's definitely more raw and vulnerable than a lot of the things I feel like that are on there. And the production, you really dove headfirst into that and turned it into exactly what we were going for.
Yeah, I think that was the last song we actually ended up recording for the record, and so it was just like one of the, we had really gotten all our tones dialed in and everything, and yeah, I think that one feels really good to have out too, because I think we were just all fully in it. It's like, oh, by the time we're done, we'll get everything exactly the way we want it to sound. But no, that one, I really enjoyed that song as well. I think the production, I'm really happy with how that turned out too.
Yeah.
High five across Zoom. Nice job. I mean, it was me to you, but yeah, cool.
I did it for you.
Thank you. Some of this, that's one of the newer songs on the record, then maybe the last one that was written for the record, you're saying?
I wrote that song originally when I was like 18, maybe 19, and then just left it on the shelf for a long time. And then these guys were like, what about that Count the Ring song that you played exactly one time in like 2014? And I was like, no, not that one. They're like, no, that one for sure. So, and that happened to Katie a lot of times, so it was my turn to dig up my past and look at the lyrics I wrote when I was a teenager. So, but it was good. I mean, that's why we rewrote it. It just became a lot more about what we're actually going through, and it was a big learning curve for me, especially lyrically speaking. It's just like, oh, you can use old material. It doesn't have to feel like going through a scrapbook and seeing like all the embarrassing photos of you as a child. You can actually do something with them. Hang them up. Why not?
So many of the songs have been around for years on vessels. I know you guys actually performed one of them when you came to visit me in Ann Arbor in the studio, performed Damascus Blades back then. That wasn't out yet at the time.
Yeah.
And that ended up showing up on the record. So
Yep. I wrote that one in a parking lot outside of Power Music Festival in Bentonville, Arkansas. So yeah, all these songs are really spanning the past 10 years of us being a band, being on the road.
I think Waste may be the oldest song because that was written in like 2013.
But you rewrote the lyrics.
That one from when I first jumped in. We were starting to do that one.
But yeah,
so
again,
it spans pretty far. Like I said, we were really waiting to put out this record. We were like, okay, these songs are gonna end up one way or another.
But what's nice about the time that we had was we actually had time to rewrite the lyrics or change an arrangement choice or move the production around. You don't always get to sit with a song forever. Sometimes you write the song and it's like, oh, here we go. Like City View, I wrote in quarantine, and then suddenly we're recording it. It's like, oh boy, all right, here we go. But some of these songs, like we said, are much older and had time to grow and learn and breathe.
Well, my praise of you aside, you have to be loving the fact that NPR, Huffington Post, Billboard magazine have all sung your praises. I mean, you got the arranged strings for BTS. What? I mean, what is that all about?
Yeah. So our sound engineer is good friends with a person named Candace Sosa who writes a lot of the songs with BTS. And she happened to, we happened to meet up in LA, and I told her that we played strings, and if she ever needed string arrangements to give us a call, and that's exactly what happened. So we were blown away. We got the tracks in I want to say early in the day, and I remember staying up until 5 a.m. just making sure everything was solid and good, and then sending it back, and then pretty soon BTS put it out, and we were like, this is surreal. Wow. So
hopefully the royalty checks come rolling in on that. I mean, that's impressive. I was impressed enough when you got Keller Williams to play on a song you wrote with his initials in it. That was impressive enough at the time. Now you've stepped it up a bit. It's cool stuff.
That was a trade. We traded Keller strings on his record for him on our record.
Oh, okay. I get it. Well, you're not just this up and coming band getting tons of well-deserved attention. You also do those educational workshops. Where does that fit into your schedule? I mean, you have to do those while you're on tour and just kind of squeeze them in?
Yeah, we squeeze them in.
You
it
don't
really
like...
depends on the tour as well. I mean, sometimes, during 2020, we learned to change a lot of that to virtual. Sav really deep dived into live streaming, and we did a lot of virtual workshops. We did virtual songwriting lessons, in small groups or one-on-one on our website. And but we also, take full opportunity to do festivals. I think next year we're going back to Sisters, Folk Fest possibly, and just coming to some of these really special places that incorporate that already. But yeah, there are so many schools in the cities that we go to that need help with their music programs. So we try to incorporate that wherever we go.
One thing we do is we'll do a workshop early in the day, and then we'll have a show that night. So we'll invite all the students who were at the workshop to come to the show and bring their families, and that's really cool because then it shows like here's us teaching, but then here's us actually doing the things that we're teaching. So
applied knowledge.
Yeah.
How do you take this and do something with it? I'm making a living doing this. Look at it. Look at me. That's cool.
Yeah.
You never thought of it that way, did you?
No.
So there was a bad incident. We briefly touched on it, the trailer incident in Arizona, but the good part was 41,000 raised by your fans on GoFundMe. I mean, you're not a household name yet. You raised a lot of money from your fans just stepping up. How did that feel?
Honestly, that's not the first time that the Michigan community has come around and beyond has come around and helped us get back on our feet when we really needed it. There have been several times where we were like, we want to get to South by, but we don't have the funds. Can you help us out? And we would sell things, and people always came around and had us funded within like a week. It's always been like that with us. So it wasn't surprising to see them do it again, but it still broke us in a way. It broke our hearts a little bit because it was just like we were really unsure how to proceed after that. We lost like almost everything, so we just didn't know what was next. And before we even had time to process that, people had already come around and been like, no, we got you. And I think that's really what that community is about. That's something very, I won't say it's exclusive to the music community, but I will say that it's really special, and especially in Michigan. I mean, that's where a lot of it came from. So
Pretty awesome. Something to be proud of too. Just the fact that you've built that community and just being yourselves, right? You're real, like you guys are honest and I'm coughing as well. I noticed as well on this particular album, you really upped your game on the promotion. The videos look great. It seems like I'm regularly getting notified of something new available on Bandcamp on a weekly basis for a while there. Oh, new single. Even the Ralston Bowles thing, which wasn't part of the whole anything, unless that's going to be on. Is that going to be on the next sessions, the one you do with Ralston?
yeah, I think there's the thing about having numbers on your sessions is that you can just do so many of them. There are so many numbers, so we can just continue to put them out and keep them going. Are you good?
Yep.
All right.
No choking allowed. We need Katie.
So many numbers.
So yeah, we'll hopefully have a chance to put out all the co-writes because there are tons. I mean, we've also got a co-write in the works with Roger Cook, who wrote the "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing." Yeah. That was magical, so we're really excited to put that out. And there's lots of co-writes. Gary Burr and Georgia Middleman we were working with as well, and it's just the stuff that we've been writing has really helped us continue creatively, even especially during that time of isolation and quarantine where we really felt like we couldn't write or do anything alone. So, we're excited to put out the material that helped get us through it and also the material that continues beyond that.
All right, one at a time. We'll start with Michael because he's on my left on the screen. What's one thing you love about your bandmates?
Oh.
Aww. Let me think.
Uh-oh.
There's a lot of things. Oh no, I'm on the spot. Let me think here. I think just that they will make sure that if anybody is like having a bad day or not feeling good, like they'll all kind of just go out of their way to make sure that you're feeling better, just in general. So they're very thoughtful and kind people. So it's very nice to travel with very thoughtful and kind people.
I bet it would be. Sav, be a sap here. What's one thing you love about your bandmates?
I like that. I like that nobody is very egotistical or high maintenance. Everybody is very chill, and we're all willing to make sacrifices for each other. And everybody carries the stuff in every night. That's just a small thing, but that's really just a small indicator of how we work as a team. And I love that team feeling, like the support, I guess, from everybody. It's just nobody has to be like fighting for anything, and that's cool.
Katie.
Oh, I like that everyone has a really good sense of humor on this. Everyone in the van, we can, within a few sentences, we'll all be cracking up, and yeah, it's a fun time.
Patty, you have known them the least amount of time, so you must have I love everything about them. They're so cool. But I don't know. What's your answer?
Yeah, well, say my favorite thing is that I learn something different from everybody. Like, I feel like I'm learning a lot about birds in particular. It's super. Like, everybody's got such a different background, and it's just not like, if I'm ever, if they're occupied with things and I'm ever breaking off on like what I call like a B plot line, like my own adventure or like a side quest with somebody else, like I'm never gonna be bored because I'm just gonna learn like a new perspective from somebody else.
Spring will come when you least expect it, and with it water wavers in
new album is called Vessel, and the Accidentals have been my guest. I know that you've just recorded in the last month or so a Mountain Stage. You jammed with Todd Snyder and Kathy Mattea.
Yeah.
How have you not been featured on Tiny Desk yet? How has that not happened?
Someone call Bob.
Yeah. I know that's one of your goals, and I know Red Rocks, and that I think will come. You're on the right path. You're really doing the right things. Have you thought about maybe a double bill with somebody else from the Michigan music scene, like Michigander, doing a double bill with him? Because he's got some of his own little cash, and you guys can not cash.
Someone call
money.
Michigander. Yeah,
I got him.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, no, we would definitely love that. I mean, it would feel very right to do anything like that with another Michigan artist, and considering how much support we've gotten from Michigan artists in the past to do what we do. So yeah, please.
Congratulations on the new record, and thank you so much for taking time out to visit with me again, and not necessarily in person this time, but we made it work. And I really appreciate your time and wish you guys the best, and can't wait to see you. Actually, I'm still sad I missed the show, so hopefully there'll be one near me that I can catch that isn't on a day that I have to do something I don't want to do. Let's not go there. Anyway. Best of luck to you guys. Great to see you. Hugs all around.
Hey, thanks. You too.
What's the website in case people want to find you?
TheAccidentalsmusic.com.
All right. Easy enough. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, you too.